And ladies and gentlemen, are we live? Yes, we are live once again. How's everybody doing today on this really nice Tuesday here in Southern California? This is your somewhat savvy, politically minded host, Abby Kaufman. And of course, we're here to chat about, a little bit about politics. And today we have a special guest. We have David Petty, who's running for the water a seat on the Water District Board in the Moulton Niguel Water District. And it's really appropriate that we talk about that because, as I mentioned in a Tom Friedman article the other day, we're, you know, eh, people today have outsized power thanks to, computers and all that. And it's just as likely that someone from Iran could target our water system and bring it down, or it could be a kid bummed out in his bedroom in, Detroit or Minnesota. So Dave's got a cybersecurity background, and so it's really appropriate that we have him today. But before we get there, I wanted to mention that I always talk about credibility and the importance of having your word that's worthy of being believed. And the reason I bring this up today is, like I usually try to sneak in at least once or twice during the show, the president and by extension, the Republicans have a credibility problem. Okay, I mean, how about that? Which is a really kind word for saying they lied. They have a tendency to lie, and let's kind of apply that to the Canadian tariff talk situation. So as the New York Times reports, that a deal was really close, and then somehow the U.S. came back in with some last minute changes that were a little too much for the Canadians to stomach. And now let's stop right there. You've got two countries, and let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's say they are negotiating in good faith, and you've dealt with these people before. Everybody's got a track record. Everybody kind of knows what you do and what you stand for. So they're negotiating the tariffs, and lo and behold, the Canadian Prime Minister says that the Trump administration came back with some last minute changes that they just couldn't stomach. Now, so you've got this deal more or less in place, and one party says, oops, well, I know we need to change this. And who is more likely to be credible in that situation, right? You have the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney on one side, and you have that orange tinged subhuman creature that is temporarily inhabiting the White House. So when you look at it this way, who's more likely to be believed? And let's see here. I think that if I'm not mistaken, isn't that like a negotiating strategy from one of Trump's books to like throw the other person off and turn the fair negotiations into a one-sided deal to get what you want? Now, I- I'm I'd like to think that sort of behavior was always kind of off the table, but that's clearly not the case. So and while I'm talking about this, I always feel really bad referring to the president as the president because he's pretty much a worthless human being, right? Uh, but what word can I use that would describe him that would let me not use his name? And I swear I can't. Uh, President Poopy Pants, but I mean, it still kind of gets the president in there. Um, But yeah, so what do you think about that negotiating tactic? We've all been in negotiation before, whether it's to buy a house or a car or pretty much anything. And you've got the deal just about ready, and you go to sign the papers, and what happens? Somebody decides to throw a little wrench to the works and see how much more they can extract, or try to change the terms of the deal to their advantage. So, and like I said, you got the Canadians who seem to me have always been just upstanding trading partners. I think there's an old joke about Canadians being like the nicest people on earth, and I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know they're extremely hospitable and really just they're just good people. Uh, so anyway, the joke goes something like this: It's 110 degrees, sweltering, and you've got 100 Canadians in the pool. You know how to make everybody get out of the pool on 100 Canadians get out of the pool on a 110-degree day? Say please. That's how polite they are that they would ordinarily do that for somebody who says please. So anyway, I mean, so now of course is the 50% tariff on Canadian cars, trucks, and steel products. I mean, and just to show you what kind of a genius we're led by, this is what, like 6 or 8 months after the war started in Iran. I mean, didn't it seem like we just, wasn't it only yesterday we bombed that girls' school with 175 girls in it that Trump promised to look into that kind of conveniently got swept under the rug? And just as a point of observation, I had to contrast that with the thing about Iran putting, what, a $10 million bounty on Barron Trump's head. And I mean, that stuff is just bad, wrong. I don't care what the circumstances is. You just don't kill people, especially, I mean, you just don't do that. And please don't cloak this in any sort of a religious thing, because I'm pretty sure that "shall not kill" is like one of the biggies on the Ten Commandment hit list. So it's awfully hard to justify, Christianity and murder in the same breath. Uh, but anyway, and let's take a quick tour down south. Just like I say, Dave's going to join us shortly, and I want to kind of go around the country a little bit before he gets here. And how about the deal in South Carolina? You've got the dead senator's sister running against a wacko congressman, and I don't think he's the one, but somebody like him was the one who called President Obama a liar, screamed out "You lied" during the State of the Union address that time. Uh, and I mean, South Carolina's just always kind of like that. And what it comes down to is, are you going to do what who said, or are you going to have a little backbone and vote for somebody who might actually do a job? And I've never appreciated the sense of entitlement thing. It might have been nice to let her, finish a few months or something in his term, but to put her right in as the Senate candidate from South Carolina, Republican Senate candidate from South Carolina, it's just, I mean, it's like capitalizing on somebody's death. It's, I mean, Lindsey Graham didn't do a whole lot of good in my book, but I still don't want to see him die like that. Uh, so yeah, don't you think this is just a little too clubby? And listen, you've got to know that Trump is getting really worried about these midterms. Otherwise, the faucet wouldn't come so fast and heavy. And against all this, let's see, going back to the Iran for a second. And as I was listening to Scott Besson announce the economic D-Day that's going to hit Iran today, and they're gonna tell these other countries that they better quit trading with Iran or else. Um, and it's really funny. Trump claims, I've yet to see the degree, and I've yet to see anybody disprove it. That he claims to warden a really, really good B school, like at UPenn, Ivy League school, Ivy League education, right? And so you would think that an economic possibility would have dawned on him before, like, oh, I don't know, 6 or 8 months have gone by, and God knows how much death and destruction. He claims to want to stop killing and then drops bombs. God knows. I hope somehow or other his brain gets left to science, because I mean, if you can unlock what's in that thing, that's like humanity's deepest, darkest secrets. So, anyway, what do you guys think about all this? The phone lines are open at 949-629-3820. And if you have a quick call to get in, let's do it before we bring David on, and let's see what else is going on. Yeah, how I mean, inserting a last minute demand, and the guy's got a history of it. So you would have to assume that he acted in accordance with his habits. So I mean, heaven help us because we're really gonna need this. Um, Now the Times was really good about this. That Canada really did fire the no or said the no herd around the world, and you can rest assured that Canada is not going to be the first and not going to be the last, or they may be the first, but they're not going to be the last to do this. The world has just about had enough of Donald Trump, and I think that we can definitely, as Democrats, show we can prove that. Uh, of course, the wild card is the cheating X factor, and I like to know, cheating is like the exact inverse of honor and all that. When did cheating become okay, especially to you mainstream Republicans who go to church? I mean, is that not a lying and fraud and just everything else? And I mean, if you can take just a few minutes to look at this, I think you kind of see where we're getting at. Um, Fraud, cheating is cheating is cheating. It's just, it's never been right. It's always wrong. And then you have somebody funding an organized effort to cheat. And these guys got, hundreds of millions of dollars at his disposal. And he wants to cheat. Jeez. I kind of think he'll find a way. And the real question is, does the Supreme Court step in and try to stop him, like, and join him from acting? And if they do, will he listen? Will he, obey the court? These times are really, they're just weird. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but lately I have never felt more so like the boat just lost its rudder, and we're just being tossed about between one daily lie or one daily deceptive whatever it is, and the country's just about had it with this guy. The prices are bad enough. And I'm going to tell you something. Americans, I believe, are decent people. I think if there was some sort of a just uh, cause, define that as you will, that Americans would be the first ones to pay that extra dollar for gasoline. I am absolutely convinced. Or we'd ride, share, carpool. We do something to contribute to, the war effort. We would be. Now, of course, everything's grown so much since the last World War. Uh, and while I'm talking about things that have grown up since the last World War, there are humanoids, robots just walking around the streets of China, right? I mean, you know, they've got like an alternative society there. And let me ask you this: let's say the Chinese or a foreign adversary sent a radar, not a radar evading boat to America, and it was armed with humanoids. And I tell you what, let's make this a step further. What if, like, it was, submarines underwater sneaking up on us, right? And the humanoids, the craft, whatever count, lands on the beach, and they just programmed to kill everybody in sight. Not unlike the Russian drone that was powered by AI. They killed the Ukrainian guy on the bicycle. How about that for a little scary? Uh, and don't you know what else the Chinese have going for them? They have Donald Trump going for them because now they were able to poach some of our best scientists. I mean, and the hollowed out government has just been a disaster is the only way I can I can put it. So anyway, this what's like 72 days till November 2nd, and guys, this is just it's going to take a lot of resolve, a lot of patience, uh, and the ultimate thing for us as Democrats is to vote and keep cool heads about this. We really don't want any sort of flimsy excuse to make it a national emergency. We don't need riots in the streets. We don't need stuff burning. We don't need anything to feed the narrative. Oh, how about that? Please don't feed the narrative. That's what it will do. Please don't feed the narrative coming up to November 2nd. And I mean, September is like, a few days away. It's clearly less than 10 weeks or so to the election. And I don't think I'm wrong in calling this an existential election, because if the Democrats win and the win is recognized and it's a decisive landslide, overwhelming victory, you might not see another Republican president for 50 years. On the other hand, if Trump cheats and steals the election, and I mean, he's funded, got hundreds of millions of dollars to do this, uh, who's going to stop him? Who's going to stop him? You would think some of his own guys would have a little pride and just be a little more patriotic and kind of look out for the country. The other 340 million of us. But these guys are just making billions of dollars a year, and if you're making $1 billion a year, that's things going pretty well. There's not a whole lot wrong in your world. But on the other hand, if you're one of the people that used to have health care from your local clinic that has since closed, if you were a woman that used to have complete health care, you wouldn't be too happy. And the guy's just been uh, hang on here, what's going on? No, you didn't. Are you? David is telling. Let's see. Let's tell him back. Let's catch him right back and tell him. I don't see you. Did you click the link? Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the at the person there, and oh, you know what? Let's do this again. Let's just do this. Emily's. How about that? Let's see if that works. And, the funny thing is, we kind of had a dry run of this, and it worked well on the dry run. I can't imagine what the login situation is, but we'll stick with Dave, and I really want to talk to him because of his cybersecurity background. Dave, I have no. Let's get. Let's see here. Let's see what happens if I do that. Oh, okay. There we go. David,
Here we go. Hi,
how
Abby.
you doing? Good.
Good, thanks.
Sorry about the problem. I have no idea what was going on, but you're here, and that's all that matters. So
Wonderful.
thanks for
Thank you.
doing this. And
Yeah,
I was telling people a little bit about your background, and I'd like to, I'd like for people to kind of know exactly what you're running for a seat on the Moulton Nagale Water District Board. And I'd like you, if you don't mind, to tell us a little bit about what that entails. And if you can work your cybersecurity background into it, that'd be great too. And with
absolutely.
that,
Absolutely.
I'll just turn it over to you and kind of listen.
Great. Okay, super, Abby. So a little bit about me. I grew up in Orange County, grew up initially in Lake Forest, and then attended college at UCI and began a work career working in the cybersecurity space. I worked in that space for about 20 years, actually longer, 23 years, and watched it grow up from, almost nothing to quite a bit, quite a big deal, and a lot of changes over time. It's something that's kind of unique that I bring to the table for a role like this. Is not only leadership roles, but also a technical role running teams of people doing consulting and delivering solutions and delivering software as a service across, frankly, 30 plus government entities in 20 plus countries, and spent a lot of time doing that. Helped one company go public, and it's been a good ride over the years. I retired from that about 2 years ago and was looking for something that was worthwhile, and watching what was going on with Trump and realizing, hey, I want to get a part of this and be part of the other side and fight that. But I'm not ready for anything super heavy duty. So I picked probably the most inconsequential role in elected politics in Orange County, which would be running for the short-term portion of the Moulton Nagale Water District here.
I got to tell you, David, to me, the water district could not be more important right now. I mean, it's just as likely that Iran could take it out or a kid in Detroit.
I very much agree with that sentiment. It's ironic. I decided to run about really not too long ago, 8 weeks ago or so. And since then, Iran has ramped up their attacks on multiple water districts throughout the country, a lot in the Midwest. And frankly, the fires have gotten out of control, and both literally and figuratively. So it is a role that, while it's about as down market, I was doing a search this morning, for instance, trying to figure out if I was actually the last spot on the whole ballot, the last spot. So, it's got a material effect on people in multiple ways. I mean, you've got the whole water bill. Everyone pays a water bill, every household. The Moulton Nagale Water District has approximately 65,000 households in it. And all of them are paying what, to the credit of the existing board, are on the lower side for bills as that part goes. But I question if that has come at an expense that will be paid in the future by my board when I'm elected, and or other folks down the road, because there's a lot of things that water boards can do. They have a lot of power, but they've been extremely reticent to invest in some of the things that I feel, right or wrong, that I feel are very, very important, such as water security, reservoirs, additional fire resources. I mean, people don't think about it, but the water board touches everyone here. I mean, if your water stops running, you're screaming. So,
does the water board have the authority to issue bonds to generate revenue to do some of those things?
Yes, they do. And I've been looking at that closely, and it appears that there was quite a large bond the other day in July, close to $75 million, which, it's a lot of debt to go into everyone's pockets. And if you divide that by 60,000, it's a big number per household. And
Yes.
that's money that's going to have to be paid back. There's no free lunch. And it's going to have to be paid back by higher rates, which is going to make it even harder to invest in more efficient solutions and more resiliency against what appears to be a non-climate change thing. I'm kidding. It's clearly climate change. Stuff's happening. Temperatures going up. Hurricanes are happening in Hawaii. We're expecting the biggest winter we've had. We've had a lot of fires here. I'd like to talk about one thing, if I can, Abby, for 1 second. One of the things that struck me as I'm doing a lot of research for this role is that the fire water districts provide the faucets, the hydrants, if you will, for water to put out fires. It's a real gross simplification, but that's what they do. A lot of people don't think about them as being integral in the fire mitigation and remediation cycle. And if you look at where we've come as a technology country, a lot of things have evolved enormously. AI, rockets. I mean, I think Musk made a mistake and hit the moon the other day. I mean, what? A mistake? Okay. My point is, and they're launching 2 or 3 satellites a day, but the point is your fire hydrant that you might be lucky enough to have across the street from you is the exact same fire hydrant that was put in 100 years ago. It's the exact same technology and probably has similar flow rates as it did in the past. And my talk track here is that essentially I think that I'd like to see, and my opinion is the water districts need to invest a lot more in that infrastructure. And if you look at, and my evidence is, if you look at the Palisades fire, they ran out of water. If you look at the Canyon fire in Laguna Niguel, the OCFA, Orange County Fire Authority after action report, very clearly stated there was a lack of pressure in the hydrants, which delayed the ability, theoretically. In other words, they don't codify that stuff in the after action report, but they had to pull water from a long way away to help put out that fire. Also, the Laguna fire of 93 ran out of water as well. So, trying to get my little dog here to be quiet.
He's welcome too.
Okay. And so along that theme of the water disappearing, I think that, well, I walked the side of the Canyon fire the other day. I walked it I walked it on Sunday. If you walk along the edge where that fire burned, I believe 22 homes and damaged 11. My understanding is it was $200 million in damage. If you walk along the edge, you're not going to see anything different. The only thing you'll see is code required hardening of the homes. I don't see additional fire hydrants. I don't see additional large fire sprinklers. These are things that don't cost a lot. And the Molten Miguel Water District has a reservoir 500 yards from where it hit over the ridgetop. There's, and what I'm getting at is I'd like to see a more robust reaction, leaning forward, pushing hard against what can be done, not what needs to be done, what the minimum code requirements are, but what can be done to help make it easier to fight these massive fires that are happening. And
we have to be proactive in some ways.
Yeah. And it literally is just a lean forward decision. And I've spoken to 2 of the people on the board about this. I've been fairly candid with them about my beliefs on that. And I heard a little bit of, well, that's not us. That's OCFA. Or, oh, that's the city of Laguna Niguel. Or when discussing Laguna Beach's situation, interesting, they had a very strong response to their fire in 93. Now, granted, they had 419 more homes destroyed. But the water board over there in Laguna Beach reports directly to the city. So the city said, you got to do something. We've got to change. They did change. They added parallel water lines and strict prescribed requirements for how much water must be delivered to each fire hydrant. And Molten Miguel hasn't done that. And OCFA, from what I can tell, hasn't required them to do that. And it's sort of taking a lean forward attitude and taking some ownership for this sort of thing. And I see that as a big part of what I would like to do with the board, and frankly, voting for me. And, I may not win. I may not get elected, but at the very least, I'll make some noise about the need to up the fire processes and fire remediation efforts within Molten Miguel Water District because you can't get a nice cold glass of water if your house is burned down. And it's just the way it is. And the other thing, I think the same type of attitude, I call it a hammer and tong attitude. We're going to get this done. And with regard to reservoirs and water resiliency, if there's a will, there's a way to do it. And if we need to charge a little bit more, which I think right now they're undercharging, candidly. I mean, everything, we've all seen the cost of gas go up 50%. We've seen the cost of living go up 30% or whatever the exact numbers are over a given period of time. But the cost of water really has not gone up too much. And candidly, we're living on borrowed time with regard to that, both in the sense that we are facing what I perceive are artificially lower rates, and the fire risk has doubled or tripled. Even right now, Reno, 100,000 people evacuated. Is that?
Yes. Oh, how about that? Yes. Oh God.
I mean, that's like the whole city. In fact, that's I don't know, 50% of the whole Molten Miguel Water District being evacuated, and it's unfathomable that you can't come up with a stronger response to how to deal with that. And I looked on the website and it talked about buying electric generators and some pump stations, mobile. You could tow them around the truck. And I'm like, no, we need a much bigger response. We need to, we need to dig more lines, have more water, figure out a way to prevent these catastrophic fires from happening in a real robust and over the top manner. Look at Lahaina. I mean, Lahaina was wiped out. And if they had taken an attitude that was one of, hey, this is coming, they may have been able to prevent that and spend some money to try and solve that problem in partnership with the city, in partnership with the fire authority, but in a partnership where you're leaning forward into the discussions with them and saying, hey, we've got to do this. No, if you're not going to do this, who do I need to talk to get this done, type of thing. It's very easy to pass the buck, and I'm trying to prevent that.
Everything is so expensive. I can't imagine people not getting behind an effort to have more water in the event of the inevitable fire.
That's the way.
In that, and to my way of thinking, not being in the middle of a fire is like the best time to prepare for being in a fire.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And I think we got lucky in the Laguna Niguel fire here. A few years ago, I was here. I was at home. I live in Laguna Niguel. Lived here for several years, and it was scary. It was scary. I was looking out the window, and I live next to a wooded area, and I was thinking, geez, this whole thing can go up, and all this stuff we worry about day to day just doesn't matter. I mean, the collection of adventure books that I bought the other day to read for fun, it just doesn't matter because it would all be gone in a matter of seconds. And we got to focus on the things that's really important and that we can control. So those are some of the things that I want to work on when I get elected. As part of that, I'm willing to put in the effort and time and money of my own, and hopefully do a little bit of fundraising, Abby. So it's I'm learning a lot about this because I've been fighting the fight in corporate America for a long time, and this is the political realm is a bit different. So.
Well, let's. I can only hope that after the first couple of days in November, that the leadership structure has changed such that we can concentrate on doing something positive instead of just stopping the bleeding.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think one of the things I want to emphasize to your listeners is that the water district probably is right at the very, very bottom. And it's called a downvote. So I would encourage everyone listening, please go all the way down to the bottom. Look for my name, Petty. Think of Tom Petty, Richard Petty. And
two of my favorite Petties.
Yeah, mine too. And
how about Kyle? Let's throw Kyle in there.
Yeah, throw Kyle in there too. And it's going to be a tough race. I went into the 2-year race, the short one, Abby, because I thought, no one's going to want to run for this. It's a 2-year race on a thankless job for the water district. That's what I felt they would perceive. And then Pat Pat Bates jumped in, and she's been in politics for a very long time and was the former mayor of Mission Viejo, I believe. And so I'm like, okay, that's a worthy competitor. That's a serious politician with lots of kudos and lots of chops to her name. And then I went away for vacation for 7 days, and I came back, and I was back for a day or two, and I said, I should probably check that again. And they have a OC vote register where you check to see if someone else has jumped into the race. And a gentleman by the name of Bishop joined the race as well, the former mayor of Dana Point. And so I'm like, really? I've gone from uncontested to contesting a race against two Republicans with probably between the two of them, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 70 years of political experience between the two of them. And so I am sort of looking around going, okay, this is going to be a race. This is not uncontested. So really, please, anyone that wants to push for the Democratic cause, I'd like your vote if I can get it. So
well, you certainly have my endorsement, and we're behind you. And if I'm not mistaken, my memory is a little hesitant these days, but I think that if my memory is right, it's electdavidpetty.com. Can people check it down? And that would be ELECT, David Petty, as in Kyle, Richard, Adam, the whole deal.
Yep.
And well, don't you feel that with things being the way they are, people just need to have the tide turned, to have some sort of positive feeling again that will lead to proactive steps, like you say, hardening the water response to fires?
Yeah, we need to have robust messaging around that from the water district that says, hey, we see these problems. We see the Palisades fire. We see the Reno fire. We see what happened in Laguna Beach. We see what happened here in Laguna Niguel, and we're doing this. And when I look at the messaging coming out from the existing water district, it just doesn't appear they're doing that. And I've called out to the new manager. I've got a message in, and I'm going to talk to him about it and say, hey, what are we doing on this? And I'm trying to be, Abby, very careful because I'm the new guy, and make sure I have my facts straight and get their messaging to make sure I'm not missing something. But I'm pretty sure I'm right on with all the things I've said today. There's some other things I've learned that I'm going to try and confirm with them about what's happening. And it's, I'd love to come back again in a few weeks if I can, because I've had some time to do some more research and speak at length with some other people at the Molten Miguel Water District. So
you're always welcome. If you want to come on like this, fine. If you want to call in, whatever you want to do, it's perfectly fine. You're always welcome.
Wonderful, Abby. That's great, and I really appreciate that opportunity, because it's an obscure topic that touches every single person to the tune of like 60 gallons a day. So
I mean, and yet you would think that water is like the more important thing because it's water and power. Like the water comes first, and I just see this as just being vital. And one last question, just because my mind's thinking about this: do either one of your competitors have any cybersecurity background or experience?
Not that I know of. Certainly nothing like I have. One of the individuals, Bishop, I believe, did work at a water district for several years in the past. He did mention the word cyber in his candidate statement, but I think that's really it. I mean, I don't know how to describe to you. My hands have been deep in it, in firewalls, host bake intrusion detection, dashboards, incident response. I've done breach coaching. I have my CISSP certification. I have a bunch of other certifications that, and a master's in cybersecurity from Fordham University in New York City that recently, I think I did that about 8 years ago. And not an online thing. It was in person in New York City. So I feel that I can add value there and help candidly defend the network of MNWD from the Iranians and other folks that might want to do nefarious evil, is what the term we use, evil in the cybersecurity field. So,
Well, that would be enough to, gain my support, but you already have it. And let's say, folks, check out elect, ELECT, David, DAVID, Petty, as in Kyle, Richard, Adam, the whole family, .com. And, you know, let's make a difference and vote for Dave and see if we can't help him a little bit. Dave, thanks a million for coming on, and you're always welcome.
Thanks, Abby. Thank you very much. I'll be
Take
back
care.
soon.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yep.
Bye now.
Bye.
So, guys, there we had a nice chat with David Petty, running for the Water District Board in the Moulton Niguel District, which is down near Lake Forest, Mission Viejo, and all that. And guys, he makes the point that there is no race that's too small. We don't want to overlook anything, and we might just want to try somebody new. Um, I mean, I'm sure the other two candidates are, qualified and reasonable, or, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But these days, think about this: a kid, any given place, and a laptop has the capability to bring down the local water district. Or what about the national power grid? I mean, this side, and of course, it's coming in at a horrible time because we're so in debt, thanks to that orange tinged subhuman creature. Uh, he added what 3.8 trillion, 10% to the debt himself. Uh, and guys, it's everything is being squeezed now. Everybody's a little kind of fatigued, even though it's only been what 6 or 7 months. We're a little tired of this Iran thing, and the truth of the matter is, nobody wanted it in the first place. It was a stupid thing to do, and it's just a horrible decision that has cost us the Middle East, really. Because now that Iran's going to hit our bases over there and the countries that have our bases, guess what? We got to turn tail and run and turn it over to them. That's the long term effect. As the United States just lost its influence in the Middle East, and you would think that Trump and Vladimir have some kind of a deal worked out, because every single action Trump has taken has diminished us on the world stage. I mean, every single one. And you can't discount the fact that he earned $2 billion while sitting in the president's office in the White House. I mean, history, I tell people, history or past behavior may not be the best indicator of future behavior, but it's all we got, and it usually works. And as part of the big beautiful bill, for instance, now we've got the beef, not shortage, but the price of ground meat was like $7 a pound or so. So what's Trump do? He drops the tariff against some imported beef. So maybe our farmers would need some help and try to get in touch with the FDA or whatever department deals with us. But of course, the staff has been just decimated, so the farmers that need help can't get through because Trump and Elon had a chainsaw approach to government. And about a year or two into these things, it's about time the bill's starting to come due, isn't it? Uh, that's why I keep telling everybody November is just existential. I mean, we are in the middle of an all hands on deck alert. And like I said, if you got all hands on deck, it's usually because either the boat's going down or you don't want it to go down. I mean, nothing good is happening if it's an all hands on deck drill. And guys, mobilization is going to be key. But I swear, if I can preach any one thing, it's don't feed the violence. Nothing stupid. No riots, no fires, no cars burning, no overturn whatever it is, no assassinated policemen, you know what I mean? Be peaceful, and you have to be peaceful in the face of provocation. If you think these guys are just going to like walk around and be neutral, you're sadly mistaken. I mean, it does seem to me as though early voting by mail is, a good answer, unless something happens to your ballots. Does Trump order the National Guard to take it away because of non-existent voter fraud? Will the Supreme Court let that stand if there's clearly no voter fraud and the president says fraud? Now, I will tell you this: after that Supreme Court immunity ruling and the example that Trump gave, that Trump's attorneys gave, no, actually, it was used uh, by the D.C. court, was that if the president ordered SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival, would that be immune? And I think the Supreme Court said yes. So, you can't put it beyond Trump that he won't have a hit squad of some sort out. I mean, you can't. What can you put? It's hard to outthink a lunatic. Uh, Usually it never works out well trying to outthink a lunatic, but the fact remains he's telegraphing the moves. And like I said, when did cheating become okay? That's what I want to know. And if cheating is okay, I'm going to blame the MBAs for wanting to squeeze every nickel out of every transaction. Sometimes it just needs to be a little give and take. And anyway, it's just always bad to squeeze people, which is exactly what Trump's tariffs and his policies are doing, which is why his rating is at an all-time low of, what, 30%. You mind, 2 out of 3 people don't like the guy. Okay, 2 out of 3 people don't like the guy. I'll repeat that. 2 out of 3 people don't like the guy. And what does Natalie Harp, the human printer, give him? 3 out of 3 like you. 4 out of 3 like you. More people like you than there are people, sir. And at some point, Trump's going to say something, and somebody's going to say, "Well, sir, that's not true, or that's not what happened." And you would think that moment is getting closer. Is, of course, it won't be from Republicans because I mean, they're just worthless. Between Cornyn and what's his name, Tillis, voting to confirm Todd Blanche after they made this hugely principled stand, and they go, and then it's like, never mind, it's okay. We'll go ahead and give it to you anyway. And that's not the job you guys had. You guys had a job of representing your constituents, and instead you bowed. To whom did you bow? We thought you'd never ask. You bowed to that what did Cohen call him, that orange Cheeto dusted whatever it is. And does anybody know what sort of adhesive Trump used to keep his hairpiece on during the Freedom 250? Because those, when those cars go back, there's a huge, like, jet stream that follows, and stuff gets pulled. People lose caps, just fly off their heads all the time. And Trump's got a little additional challenge there. And the what is he? Oh, if he was a decent guy, I give him the benefit of the doubt. Say something like follically challenged, but the guy's just ethically challenged, morally challenged, compassion challenged. The guy just, it's just unbelievable. The only thing that matters is him. The only thing. Uh, Even though I bet he, I can't imagine the grief at having your son assassinated because you started a war. But these days, like I said, the small can act really big. The small can act really big. How about Ukraine for the most relevant example? Fought Russia to a draw and maybe even a little bit ahead after 4 years of just decimation. And like I say, Russia should pay for that, just like we should pay for Iran. There was no reason for us to have done what we did, other than you had a stupid guy in charge. Um, and like I said, the notion of Trump sitting through a briefing by General Raisin Kane, or in which they plead with him not to do this. A lot could go wrong. A lot could go wrong. A lot could go wrong. Please don't do this, sir. And then old Benjamin Netanyahu, BB himself, says something like, "Oh man, easy peasy, lemon squeezy." We go in, we drop people bombs, they change the leadership, and wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, thinking that that would be an expression Trump is familiar with. Uh, and would you believe that Netanyahu just kind of got it wrong? And but he knew the audience of one. And he knew if he gave Trump a chance or a reason or an excuse to think that his name would go down in history, he's going to do it. All things be evidence be damned, right? Because when the military and the Joint Chiefs present war plans, believe me, these guys cover contingencies, and these guys are warriors. And every society, every culture, needs a warrior class. And to think that our warrior class is, when our warrior class was men, women, different color, different whatever it is, that was the strength. And the mag people are just too. uh, They're too. I can't say intellectually challenged. I guess I can. Intellectually challenged. I won't say educationally challenged because that might be a little bit snobbish, but they are intellectually deficient in that they can't reasonably compare two different things. And sometimes two behaviors, while they can't be justified, one sometimes there's no moral equivalency if their things are way disproportionate. For instance, killing one man is not as damaging to society as killing 6 million. So while they both killed and they're both killers, I think one clearly deserves more punishment than the other. And talk about punishment and Trump and these tariffs, or no, well, not the tariffs, sorry, the Iranian sanctions. Uh, they won't mean a China is Iran's largest trading partner. How likely is it that they're going to go along with this? And the answer is no chance. There's no chance. She's not stupid. And just to kind of make the point, does anybody think that that orange dusted Cheeto, poor excuse for a subhuman, whatever it is, does anybody think he can actually like negotiate or out negotiate anybody? I mean, he's President Poopy Pants, for God's sake. You can't. Yeah, the one thing you can count on President Poopy Pants to do is the one thing you really, don't want to be around when President Poopy Pants does it, because that's just got to that won't go over well. Even, I shouldn't. I shouldn't think like this, but somewhere there's a cartoon of President Poopy Pants on dumping on Congress, but that might be a little vulgar and a little crude, and we try to keep it fairly civilized here. And and what else did I want to mention today? We're just the truth about it is the war is just stressful, and the prices are stressful. Um, I can't imagine. I mean, I would clearly, if it was a just thing, I wouldn't have a problem with gasoline prices at all. Matter of fact, I'd be a patriot and pay more and try to use less. But it just doesn't work that way anymore. And I see the whole deal to think is just it was this whole thing was just so unnecessary. And let's see here. Oh, and how about this? This is a really good topic. I'm going to try to milk this for all it's worth. Now, you remember Trump and those old Trump accounts and give the parents, what, $1,000 for the kid? Geez, that'll. Why do I think that's not a good thing? Because you'd have to have a bunch of kids to make any money. And, we don't want, a bunch of kids just, orphans hanging out for the best, get together and consummated for a night. That's the last thing we want. So let's contrast that with a country that makes things viable for their citizens. And I am talking about the Republic of Singapore. And guess how much the total package allowed for each new child is? counting all future benefits and all that stuff. Discounted to present value, it's 70,000 discounted to I think 55,000. So you're talking 55,000 per kid. You got something there, right? And that includes what, a $10,000 gift at birth and another $10,000 to put towards education. I mean, does that not seem a lot better thought out than, Trump account? Here's $1,000 for your kid. Uh, you just, if you want anything planned out, he's just not capable. And furthermore, when you don't hire capable people, uh, you get incapable people. Uh, and that what happens. Trump doesn't care how well you do a job. Yeah, I mean, does he? Of course not. He just wants to know that you will do what he tells you to when he tells you. It's strictly a dominant submission kind of or submissive kind of relationship, and for whatever reason, people do it. Uh, I mean, Natalie Harp. I wonder if there's some sort of joke going around about Natalie being harpooned, but again, you couldn't really prove it by me. And if Natalie did get harpooned, uh, then what do you say? And I'm gonna say, if Natalie got harpooned by Don the Con, that would be the least destructive thing the guy's ever done towards the United States. Matter of fact, if he and Natalie wanted to go off and harpoon, God, go. I mean, you can't do much damage when you're harpooning or being harpooned. I guess it kind of leaves the door open for which way the harpoon is going. Uh, but yeah, somehow or other, I think Natalie Harpoon is uh, I mean, her problems are just beginning, and it's so sad. I mean, she came through bone cancer of some sort. I mean, if there's anybody that deserves, a really nice try again, it's somebody that's been through bone cancer and just had the mental toughness to pull through. I don't, I mean, I'm all for her as a person like that. As a cancer victim or cancer patient, God knows she's suffered, and she's she's just tough. I can see where she scratches the president's itch, if you know what I mean. Uh, but having your itch scratched is not like a fringe benefit of the presidency. Matter of fact, there are no such things as being fringe benefits of the presidency. The only fringe benefit of the presidency Trump knows is as how to exploit, how to shake down a little money. And another thing Friedman said a while back uh, was that the Monroe Doctrine. They're making fun of the Monroe Doctrine. No new governments in the Western Hemisphere. The Monroe Doctrine, as Tom Friedman explained it, was that if you need Trump, he's going to extort you, and if you don't like Trump, he's going to tariff you. So he just shakes people down either way. It's New York Mafia at its finest. And like I said, let's. I want to. One thing I keep asking for, and God knows, I really, really, really want this. I want. Hang on. Uh, I want the president of the United States, such as it is, to get on the old television or stream or whatever he wants to do, and I want him to tell me exactly how we're doing all this winning in Iran. Because if I'm not mistaken, Iran just kind of suggested that there are 46 ships in the Strait of Hormuz, and those ships would be better off if they didn't like try to transit the strait. So it doesn't look like we're winning too much there. Um, Now, and as Iran hits our military bases in the Middle East, which means our allies and friends in the Middle East, that's not too good either. And what do? We run. And so we've more or less have 15 ineffective bases in the Middle East that we can't go to. They're all, why? Because the Iranians are attacking. And, it's just an untenable situation. And let's always remember this. It was Bibi Netanyahu explaining to Trump how with Maduro like ease, they would change the regime in Iran and thereby change Middle East history forever. I mean, you talk like that, and you got Trump in your hip pocket, right? Uh, and so, what's Trump say after getting the full blown briefing from General Raisin Kane or Kane or whatever isn't that the chicken thing? Raisin Canes or some kind of canes. Anyway, he does this, and he goes through like what hours worth of briefings or however long he can sit still, and BB gives his 5 minute speech, and what does Trump say? Hey, does he say, all things considered, I think this is the better course, or I've studied this, and after consultation with, I've decided. Doesn't it seem like a really nice, rational way to do this, as opposed to sounds good to me, which was Trump's authorization for the war in Iran. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the ships at sea. Let's see, my voice is starting to go, so we're gonna kind of ease on out of here. And thank you everybody for tuning in and watching and listening. Thanks also to our guest David Petty, and that's elect David Petty, like Kyle, Richard, Adam, the stock car racing family. Electdavidpetty.com for Water District Board in Moulton, New California. Uh, David is exactly what we need. I don't care that somebody's had water department experience before. This is different. Times are different, and we've got to harden up. I say it's just too. It would be too easy. And like I say, Iran's already attacking different water districts. I mean, we need David Petty. Is the truth of the matter. So, guys, we support him, and we hope you will too. And in the meantime, like I say, it's a little after one ish, and my throat does get a little dry after an hour or so. Even though I do thank David for coming on and giving my voice a little rest. You know, I really want people to look at this election like it just as existential. And guys, whatever obstacle Trump throws up, we'll conquer. Will, but no stupid mistakes. No, how about that? That's kind of like going to be my theory. That might be my theme for life: is no stupid mistakes. All right, guys. On that cheerful note, we've got a little studio time this afternoon, so we're going to go see if we can't do that old anti-Trump song of the day. And guys, you know what we usually say about this time? Roger, welcome over.